Hey everyone, I've loved everything Ari Aster has ever made up to this point. Hereditary is one of the best directorial debuts in decades and arguably one of my favorite horror films of all time. Midsommar is a glorified breakup movie framed as a psychedelic nightmare, and Beau is Afraid, though considered a massive failure by many, worked for me on multiple levels. It plays as an odyssey of a broken man trekking through woodlands and cityscapes searching for meaning in a world that makes absolutely no sense. All of his films overflow with excess, surrealism, and ambition, and say what you want about the guy, but at least his ideas, while utterly insane, are always entirely his own. That's why his newest film, Eddington, feels so odd to me. I'll say this right away. I have never loved and hated a movie so much at the same time before. In many ways, it's his most well-produced film, featuring incredible star power, solid performances across the board, gorgeous editing, and masterful shot composition. There's a scene where the camera is positioned directly through a bullet hole in a paper target awaiting the next point of entry that's, I couldn't look away from it. And the film moves quickly, and for 2.5 hours, it's surprisingly breezy. Consistently, there's a diversion that leaves you guessing Aster's next move. His craft as a director has never felt sharper. But here's the problem. After 3 films consisting of thoughts pulled entirely from his own twisted mind, Eddington feels like he was too scared to really say anything at all. Touching on a subject that had global effects, but more specifically ripped this country apart politically, socially, and economically, you'd think he'd have something to say, right? Instead, it feels like he took the opportunity and completely wasted it. The film exploits both political sides, liberal extremists, conservative nuts, protests, mandates, effectively placing you back into the landscape of circa 2020. But it almost entirely dodges giving us any answers, reasoning, or solutions for the world we live in and how to grow from it. It's common to go to movies to escape reality and free yourself from what you're already living through. And that said, I don't have a problem with films highlighting current events, but they should always be treated with responsibility and care. More importantly, they need to say something. If you're just framing your film as a snapshot of what we've already lived through without offering any perspective beyond what we already know, beyond inciting rage among your audience, it comes off as the director being too detached from reality to understand the pain that was actually endured. And I understand what Ari Aster was doing, positioning this as a neo-western about a town at odds with itself, replacing guns with the phones in our pockets. That concept works on paper, but if there's nothing beyond that, it remains just a concept with no substance or value. And it left me feeling the same as I did going in, just more frustrated. If the goal is to piss off both sides of the political spectrum, then I'm sure it will succeed. This will undoubtedly be one of the most polarizing films of the entire year. But what's the point? When there's more division now than ever, when every news headline contradicts the next, and when no one can seem to get on the same page about anything,
they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Making your audience collectively angry at your movie is not the type of common ground you should be aiming for. It really bothered me that Eddington intentionally places itself in the middle of real events, yet Aster cherry picks what issues to focus on while completely turning a blind eye to the rest. If I could pick his brain, I would, although I'm not sure how much more I'd understand, since while watching, it didn't seem like he understands anything either. There's a twist that happens a little over midway through that changes the tone completely, and for all of its frustrating political broadness, it morphs into a high-stakes crime revenge thriller that works in many ways, and it's genuinely thrilling and features some of Joaquin Phoenix's best work in years. That's what's so maddening about this movie. So much of it is frustrating, infuriating even, but it's also consistently engaging. It's like one of those things so painful to watch but even harder to look away from. A24 puts a lot of trust in Ari Aster to deliver entirely his own ideas and everything going on in his mind, and the last few movies have completely worked for me, while not for everybody. I understand their divisiveness, but even still, Beau is Afraid was a critical and financial disaster at large, and so I feel like this was really his opportunity to deliver once again, bring audiences back, get critics back on his side, and instead it just feels like he let the backlash get to him in a way that he was walking on too many eggshells that he just forgot to make something with substance. This is the first time I felt indifferent and leaning towards negative about Aster as a filmmaker. I understand why people will hate this movie, and I hate a lot of it too. The more I think about it, the more frustrated I become, that it's so concerned with saying so much at once that it really doesn't say anything at all. Maybe that's the point. Maybe it's a mirror of our society, the blurring of lines and our inability to do anything that actually makes a difference. But I really didn't need a reminder of that, and Aster's unwillingness to at least attempt to move the needle forward makes me think it would have been better if he didn't say anything at all. I feel like I need to revisit this one soon, but at the same time, I would be satisfied if I never watched it again. And that's a really weird state to be in, especially considering he's a filmmaker I've always gone to bat for. I think the moral of the story is, moving forward, he should focus a lot more on delivering all of the absurdity that's in his own mind instead of trying to visualize the chaos of the world around him. But I'm just a guy talking movies on the internet, so hey, what do I know?
I don't know. Sorry. I don't know.